airstrikes, perhaps 1,000, in order to prevent it. We also discussed the situation in Syria after the collapse of Assad's regime, a collapse that was made possible by Israel's weakening of Iran's terror axis, especially the weakening of Hezbollah and the removal of Nasrallah. For over a decade before October 7th, Israel acted to prevent Iran from developing new terror fronts against us in Syria, right opposite the Golan Heights and deeper in Syria. And we conducted hundreds of airstrikes, perhaps 1,000, in order to prevent it, and we did. Now, if any other, we also discussed the situation in Syria after the collapse of Assad's regime, a collapse that was made possible by Israel's weakening of Iran's terror axis, especially the weakening of Hezbollah and the removal of Nasrallah. For over a decade before October 7th, Israel acted to prevent Iran from developing new terror fronts against us in Syria, right opposite the Golan Heights and deeper in Syria. And we conducted hundreds of airstrikes, perhaps 1,000, in order to prevent it, and we did. Now, if any other, we also discussed the situation in Syria.
This is the book of Job, chapter 15, and verse 5, and it says, "For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee." First and foremost, as always, before I get started, we give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is the God of the living, and the Lashwan Kodash, all right, being the holy tongue, as in the Paleo Hebrew, being the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch Rash, which is all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, who is our strength and our Redeemer and our light and our salvation. In the same tongue, Ma'adamashana, Kabwadim, Lahasakwanium, Shal, Gadwarakab, many double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, and Shalom, honors and salutation to Bayashid Abadah, the house of David, along with the rest of the 1/3 elected men, women, and children of Israel. All right. This fellow servant Malak Rayab, back at it again with another lesson through the spirit of prophecy, being the testimony of our Lord and Savior, Hamashiach Abishai, whom the masters of the world ignorantly refers to as Jesus Christ. All right. And just further bringing forth the testimony of our Lord and Savior, Hamashiach Abishai, which is the spirit of prophecy, further prophesying the downfall of the Edomites, all right, the disease of the earth, pursuing the Sirach 10 chapter, through, the high level of tyranny, corruption, and carnality, predicated off of Esau's God complex of, so-called white supremacy, which is Edomite supremacy, all right, which consists of carnality and witchcraft, all right, and there's a focus on, the downfall of these devils, specifically the chief family of the nation of Edom, or being the Amalekites, the modern-day Zionists, specifically the Zionist bankers, the Dukes of Edom, all right, the biblical Dukes of Edom, all right, that is being, further fulfilled, through this devil, further exposing, his own, intricate inner works of wickedness, all right, behind the scenes, all integrated within a satanic NWO on behalf of the wicked Zionist central bankers, all right, through the Israeli Mossad, through Bibi, or this clown, which is the current, prime minister, the current prime minister of the state of Israel, all right, to the right, the damn tyrant devil to the right, Bibi Milikowski, all right, because his last name Milikowski is Polish, what I'm saying? So, so he's not really, who he claims to be, all right. But nonetheless, he's an Edomite nonetheless, man. All right, case in point. But this lesson is really just a focus on the wickedness of Esau, Edom, specifically Amalek, the chief family of the Edomites, and how their own nature is further befalling them. Because the Holy Spirit of these scriptures, through the spirit of prophecy, is further tearing down the strongholds and stumbling blocks of this devil. All right, to where he is further exposing his own self. Okay, where albeit he's doing it in a boastful manner. Okay, because Esau doesn't believe that he can fall. All right, so he doesn't mind. So really, the how by Shemashai by Shemakah has this devil exposing himself publicly as a further omen of his downfall, and this is why Bibi just admitted, that he is seen, publicly admitting, the involvement, of the overthrowing of the Bashar al-Assad regime. Okay, being that Bashar al-Assad was a former Syrian president who was forced to flee, by way of the impact of that Syrian coup, in this case, this modern day Syrian coup, okay, Anywhere between late November to early December, that forced Bashar al-Assad to flee. All right. And there's speculations that he, had fled to Russia. All right. But this is going to expose a lot of wickedness and, corruption, collusion and hypocrisy, okay, involved in this, this Edomite hegemony, this satanic NWO, all right, especially under the guise of terrorism that they have directed towards the enemies of the state of Israel, America, and NATO, all right, directed towards the so-called dragons, the so-called Muslim nations, all right. So, as he said, he admitted, publicly that the state of Israel was involved in the overthrowing of Syria. Now, I'm going to get this quick article here to expound on that. This is on worldcrunch.com. It says, Iran, Syria, Trump, the next twist on Netanyahu's war path after Lebanon ceasefire. All right, it says the Israeli prime minister has been clear the ceasefire in Lebanon will allow him to focus on Iran and on Syria, through which Hezbollah's weapons are transported. Because this is what this is all about. This whole, and mainly this Syrian coup, this modern Syrian coup that took place, all right, but between late November and early December, points back to Iran. It all points back to Iran in terms of these so-called Muslim nations, aligning themselves to support the Ishmaelites over there in the G to the A to the Z A strip, right, and all those who stand with Assad, right? Because that's why there's been Syrian and Russian military bases under heavy Israeli and American and NATO surveillance, and even to the point to where those same Syrian and Russian military bases have been attacked. All right, and it all leads back to Amalek, right, the state of Israel. All right, case in point. So it says, but the underlying factors are Iran's nuclear program and Donald Trump's return to the White House. All right, it says the sound of weapons has not completely ceased in Lebanon. On Thursday, the state of Israel bombed a Hezbollah position in southern Lebanon, marking the first breach of the ceasefire declared on Wednesday morning. All right, because Esau is a truce breaker. It says in Psalm 55:20, just like he broke all the treaties with the so-called Native Americans of the tribe of Gad. Okay, he's continuing, okay, his wickedness, okay, his wicked, profane, vile nature, as the devil the Bible speaks of, man. Okay, an untamable, bloodthirsty, lascivious, covetous beast, okay, who yearns for global control. All right, including the control of the world's resources and energy supplies. You see, and and there's a lot of energy in the so-called Middle East, where this last world war is prophesied to take place. All right, so this once again, this whole Syria thing really just points back to Iran. Okay, as he mentioned here, it says in his televised address on Tuesday evening announcing the conclusion of the agreement on Lebanon, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made his intentions clear. For Israel, the state of Israel, it is about focusing on Iran. And countering Iranian influence involves dealing with Bashar Assad's Syria. All right, the challenge for Israel is to prevent Hezbollah from rebuilding its military arsenal in Lebanon, partially destroyed during the recent weeks of intense bombings in which they've been doing, indiscriminately. All right. It says, yet the transfer routes for weapons or missile components, which are later assembled in Hezbollah's clandestine workshops, pass through Syria. You see that? So this is why they overthrew Bashar al-Assad's regime down there in Syria. Okay, because of their alliance with Iran. All right, which they have used, Esau, the Amalek and the Edomites of America and NATO have used as a justifiable reason to invade Syria. Okay, and now publicly boast in doing so, which was a very foolish thing to do because it pointed out when it came out that I'm going to get this information. It came out that let me go ahead and get that information here. Salakia. All right, Salak. All right, yeah. So anyway, so as I was saying, let me go ahead and find that information. So anyway, it came out that those. Matter of fact, before I make my point, let me go back to this article here. I wanted to bring something out to further, expose, the tyranny and the hypocrisy of the Israeli Mossad through the Netanyahu regime and the current administration. Okay, in America as a whole, that is the puppets. Okay, the main puppets of the Israeli Mossad. So, jumping down, let me see here. Let me find this information. It says one must take Bibi, all right, at his word when he said on Tuesday night, Assad is playing with fire. Syrian sovereignty holds little weight as the country remains severely weakened after the devastation of the civil war. This week, jihadist groups backed by Turkey, okay, reached the gates of Aleppo, a sign that the embers of war are far from extinguished. So why is the mentioning of the Turkey-backed jihadist groups reaching the gates of Aleppo in Syria, eventually leading to the overthrowing of Assad, is significant? Because those same jihadist groups points back to the individuals who are key individuals who are now who are now ruling over Syria, or specifically individual that has taken Bashar al-Assad's place. Okay, which I'm about to further explain the significance of that in a second, as soon as I could pull up the information here. All right. Yeah, this guy here says breaking. All right. Reported back on December 8, 2024. It says former commander of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, Abu Muhammad al-Jilani, is the new leader of Syria. Now, having that said, this further exposes the corruption and the tyranny, all right, and the orchestrated chaos and overall greed, envy, and covetousness on behalf of Esau Edom, specifically on behalf of the chief family of the Edomites, all right, the Amalekites, all right, and how this Bibi's statement of admitting the state of Israel's involvement of the overthrowing of Bashar al-Assad of Syria links to this devil here, links to Al-Qaeda. This is the same group that Esau claimed that was responsible for that deadly attack in New York that took place 24 years ago. So why in the hell are these devils, these same devils that claim that Ishmael, the modern day Arabs, were behind that attack 24 years ago in New York? Okay, that resulted in the downfall of the towers. Okay, supporting these same people that they claim that was behind that attack. You know what I'm saying? If you could paint the picture, you see that. So once again, go back to Job 15:5. It says, "For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty." Okay. Now this is an account. There's really an account going into Job's friend Eliphaz, which is an Edomite. Friend or comrade or associate that was confounding him for speaking words that he deemed impietous, basically not reverencing the Most High, for Job, by Job acknowledging why he was suffering. And so Eliphaz believed that, Job was speaking a lot of vain words, in terms of, speaking words that would confirm that he acknowledged, why he was being judged. And according to the perception of Eliphaz, right? But this same concept could be applied to the iniquity being spoken through the craftiness of Esau Edom, because because Eliphaz perceived that Job was guilty of this, but Esau is actually guilty of this. So you can apply this concept to, the forked tongue of Esau Edom, that poison of this deaf adder, that is that poisonous serpent, which is Esau Edom, that old ancient serpent called the devil, that spirit that dwells within these Edomites, a self-proclaimed Caucasian or white race, all right, whose bloodline derives back to the Edomites. They're the wicked who's running the world, who's ruling the world, man. Okay, with supreme aggravation, okay, tyranny, corruption, carnality, all right, pride, to where Bibi was boasting publicly of acknowledging the Israeli Mossad's involvement through his administration of overthrowing Bashar al-Assad. You see, and which links to America, which further links to NATO. Okay. So it says in Job 15:5, for thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thy own lips testify against thee. All right, let's grab a quick precept. In Psalm chapter 10 and verse 3. And it says, for the wicked boasteth of his harsh desire, and blessed the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai abhorreth. All right. Including the central bankers themselves. All right. These money launderers, including these wicked, corrupt politicians who pockets a lot of this money behind the scenes. All right. Of the benefits of the corruption of international affairs and domestic affairs of criminal activity that takes place behind the scenes. Okay. And the only reason why these people are not have not been in prison because Esau's ruling the world, man. So they bend their own laws. That's why there's a saying that says, if you want to know who rules over you, find out who you cannot criticize. You see that? That's why they have their anti-S laws in place. I think Trump had signed an executive order to further strengthen that law, where if you say anything that's deemed anti-S against these damn condom hat imposters over there in the Holy Land, then they can deem you anti-S. But what happened to freedom of speech? Case in point, more so in America, Babylon the Great. But all in all, these devils' hypocrisy is further exposing their wickedness. Okay. So this is Psalm 10 and 4. It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High, Yahweh by Shemeshai. The Most High, Yahweh by Shemeshai, is not in all his thoughts. All right. Why? Because Esau has his own God complex. That's why Bibi felt compelled to speak publicly, because they believe that nobody can overthrow them. You see, this says in Psalm 49:11, they believe their inward thought is that their houses will continue forever. You see, so this is Psalm 10 and 5. It says, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. You see, so he's puffing at Iran. He's puffing at the Iran proxy militants, militia, i.e. Hezbollah. That, what I'm saying, the Houthis, okay, in Yemen and so forth, okay, in Iran specifically, you see, so that whole letter that Trump had wrote to Iran, concerning peace talks and so forth is vain, because the prime minister, the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, rejected those peace talks from Trump. For one, mainly because he understands that Trump, the former Trump administration, led to the elimination of their top Iranian general, Soleimani. So they still haven't forgotten about that. But now, and then to add insult to injury, you're further affecting their sovereignty, by weakening their military strength. Meaning their resistance against their foes in the state of Israel, America, and NATO. All right, by eliminating their top Hezbollah, militia. Okay, and attacking their military bases and trade routes. Including in Syria. All right. In case in point, so the least of the flock, the Amalekites, are going to draw these nations out into this war, into this last world's war, which I'm going to get in a second. This is Psalm 10 and 6. It says, he has said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing, deceit, and fraud. Okay. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. All right. Because, mischief and vanity and fraud is under the tongue of the self-proclaimed white man, Esau, Edom, the devil the Bible speaks of, where he justifies this wickedness, these wicked efforts behind closed doors that really supports his own wicked aspirations on behalf of the satanic NWO specifically, but yet he claims that these same efforts benefits the public by, for example, limiting global terrorism by eliminating Bashar al-Assad, the terrible terrorist, you know what I'm saying, that's associated with the terrorists of Iran. All right. When he's really projecting, you know what I'm saying, his own terrorism. Hence why Bibi boasted his involvement on behalf of the Israeli Mossad of overthrowing Bashar al-Assad. All right. For reasons going to be further, spoken about, in his lesson. All right. So this is Psalm 55 and 20. All right. Psalm chapter 55 and verse 20. And it says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. All right. Including the covenant or treaty or truce of the Iran nuclear deal, aka JCPOA deal back in 2018 under the current commander in chief. Further confirming this devil doesn't want peace. That's why Bibi broke another treaty, another covenant. Okay. Through that Lebanon ceasefire, as I brought out in that article, man. Another reason why Bibi further voiced, his disinterest of peace talks with the Ishmaelites over there in the G to the A to the ZA strip and the proxy armies of Iran. Same reason why Zelensky of Ukraine, and another interest of Amalek, had voiced his disinterest of peace talks. Why? Because he's just another puppet of the Israeli Mossad, man. And he himself might be a condom hat imposter. Okay. Because Ukraine is modern-day Khazaria. And that's where these condom hat imposters derived from before they migrated to the Holy Land on behalf of Walter Lionel Rothschild and the British government, signing that Balfour Declaration in 1917. So that's why they have a lot of interest in Ukraine, not only because it's a breadbasket of the world, because they have history there, as I just pointed out. So this is Psalm 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You see, so this is exposed this because this is a true demonic, profane nature of the self-proclaimed white man, Esau Edom. Let's go and grab Jeremiah 49 and 20. And it says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh by Shemeshad, that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. You see, I mean, it's why more people starting to voice, more people starting to become more privy to these demonic, mischievous devices to Esau's Western propaganda and global media outlets. Okay, justifying his wickedness, his military industrial complex and intelligence agencies that are linked to terrorism. Okay, further linked to the Israeli Mossad, further exposing them as terrorists. You see how why this devil has been projecting his own terrorism, okay, through his enemies, because he is trying to get from under that umbrella of wickedness, okay, and project it upon his enemies, so he can deter the attention off his own wickedness, man. Okay, but it's all the Holy Spirit of through the prophecies of these scriptures for exposing you devils, man. All right, so let's get some more information here. All right, let me see. All right, we go back. All right, we go back in here, get some more information. This is why you have this woman. It's Intel officer Josephine Gelbo. It's like you. Intel officer Josephine Gelbo on the state of Israel regarding their tyranny and wickedness. And listen to what she has to say. And she was a former U.S. Intel officer. All right, so listen to what she has to say about Amalek.
Please. For 1 year, I have watched Israel burn children alive. You don't care about veterans. You don't care about American values. You are destroying this country. Shame on all of you. May God give you the moral courage. May God give you the moral courage to do the right thing. May God give you your hearts. Please. Shame on you. We need veterans from California all the way to New York to stand against what we are witnessing right now. Your voice is so powerful.
See? Hey, people, hey, man. People becoming more privy.
1 year,
people becoming more privy to the wickedness of you damn devils, man. So you have a Syrian girl, post this recent post where she said, we need to talk about Muslim Zionism and how it mirrors ish condom hat Zionism. Both are about genociding the people of the Levant and stealing their land. Because you have pro-Zionist, Muslims, okay, in reference to the dragons of Arabia on behalf of the nations of Ishmael and Iran, okay, that support the Zionist regime. Ultimately, it's Edomite hegemony through the satanic NWO, which entails and requires carnality through the invasion of these particular lands because of its natural resources. You know what I'm saying, and the resistance of the leaders of those lands they invade of this NWO, such as Bashar al-Assad. Now, speaking of which, let me go ahead and bring out this this post, okay, regarding so it says here, what the Syrian conflict is really about, the control of energy. So here's a little diagram or map, okay, of, these various oil pipelines, including the Qatar, Turkey, Europe pipeline, which I believe extends from Saudi Arabia through Syria to Germany. Okay. Now, even though Saudi Arabia is really teetering in their alliance with America, leaning more towards BRICS, Esau believes he can extend that pipeline, this Qatar, Turkey, Europe pipeline through Saudi Arabia, through Syria, through Turkey. Syria obviously wasn't playing ball under the Bashar al-Assad regime. That's why they removed them. And that's why Turkey, a current NATO ally, sent those jihadist groups to Aleppo, to the gates of Aleppo, all right, to carry out that modern day Syrian coup, between late November to early December. All right. Then towards the top of the map, you see it says Rush to Europe Nord Stream pipeline that stretched from, stretched to Germany, and it so happened to blow up mysteriously, quote unquote. But we already know the Israeli Mossad was behind that shit, man. Because this is what it's all about. Lascivious covetousness, man, or covetousness, shall I say? All right, the greed of the world's, resources that they exacerbate in exhaust through these coups they set up, these military coups, like the one in 2011. Let's speak on that real quick. All right, because there's nothing new under the sun. It says in Ecclesiastes 1:9. So this is, let me see. Let's get this first. It's on Wikipedia for the U.S. intervention in the Syrian civil war. It says on, let's jump down to the point. All right. Let's jump straight down to the point. It says, shortly after the start of the civil war in 2011, as in the 2011 Syrian coup / civil war, the Obama administration placed sanctions against Syria and supported the Free Syrian Army rebel faction, terrorists, okay, by covertly authorizing Timber Sycamore, under which the Central Intelligence Agency armed and trained rebels. So why was the Central Intelligence Agency, okay, associated with America, Babylon the Great, training terrorists? The same reason why Hillary Clinton, okay, admitted on camera that the same intelligence agency trained Al-Qaeda. This is the same group that took over Syria. This is the same group that's linked to Bibi and Israeli Mossad. Linked to America and NATO. Further confirming that they're all full of shit, man. They're all corrupt. They're all tyrannical. Why? Because this world is a stage, man. Okay. So to further speak on that, let's get let me see. And this is why this article says the Middle East Monitor platform, and it says U.S. controls 90% of Syrian oil. Okay, why is that? Because these intelligence agencies training these terrorist groups / rebels, okay, were responsible for seizing this oil for the interests of the wicked elite Zionist central bankers. Now, this is why in this article, all right, on the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists platform, it says, entitled, a pariah regime used a Cyprus middleman in bid to invade oil industry sanctions, Slovakia. All right. So, jump down to the point. It says, inside Syria's secret talks to buy forbidden U.S. equipment vital to the Assad government's survival. All right. Let's jump down to the point. Let me see. All right. Let me jump down a bit. Yeah, it says the United States had prohibited the export of any goods or services to Syria's oil industry since 2011. So is it a coincidence that that's the same year that Syrian coup took place? Of course not, man. These devils were behind it the whole time. But they blamed it on the terrorists, the terrible terrorists. The same guys they used to point the finger at Ishmael. Okay. You know what I'm saying? On that deadly attack, in New York. Okay. That happened 24 years ago, by blaming it on bin Laden, which he was another Central Intelligence Agency informant. Okay. That went under the code name Tim Osman. You can look that up. So, hey, man, once again, this world is a stage, man. You devils being exposed, man. Okay. So you're the real terrorist, and it's been further exposed. Okay. Because you're linked to terrorists. Why? Because you are the terrorists, man. You are the real terrorists. It says in Revelation 11:18, you're going to be destroyed for destroying the earth. This is why the least of the flock, okay, the Amalekites, are drawing these nations out into this war. And this is why, as the influence on this current regime or administration in America, on behalf of DJT, slapping tariffs and sanctions on these nations, that's pissing them off. And especially, these these member states of NATO and the EU that benefit off of cheap Russian energy. You see, once again, it's all about the control of resources. Okay. And in a narrative. Okay. So now you have Poland, a current NATO ally, calling for the training of all age military men. Okay. And in response to the geoeconomical threats against, against Russia and so forth. Why? Because once again, Poland, Germany, and these other European nations, including those who are still aligned in this NATO EU alliance with America, benefits off of Russian energy. Okay. Including the benefits off of liquefied natural gas. Okay. But these tariffs and sanctions are geoeconomically crippling their economy and their purchasing power. Okay. Through the leverage, the global leverage, the petrodollar still has, and that's pissing them off. So that's why Poland is preparing for war, subliminally conspiring to prepare for war against the whore, America, Babylon the Great, despite the fact that they're still currently allies along the likes of Germany that took a recent poll in Germany where the German collective voiced that their displeasure towards America and how they no longer view America as trustworthy, man, because of what's being spoken about here. Okay. Then you have Greenland. You have Trump threatening to take Greenland from Norway, and they're also NATO allies, man. So that goes into the privacy of the division of the 10 toes from this whore. The 10 toes representing the EU, okay, are a part of this beast, okay, the former EEC, along with the member states of NATO, okay, they'll also have a rift with the whore. And this beast is going to burn the whore, as it says in Revelation 17:16. It's all a part of this last world's war, man. The Amalek, is being used by Yahweh Shemeshah to lead these nations out into this war, man. And Amalek, once again, being the chief family of the Edomite nation. Okay, so let's go back to that. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shemeshah, that he had taken against Edom and his purposes, that he has purpose against inhabitants of Teman. All right, to the modern day Germans. All right, the same ones who behind the developments of the atomic weapons, use fat boy and little boy, against them Ammonites, modern day Japanese and Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right, around 1945 during World War II. Okay, in which that project was otherwise known as the Manhattan Project. You see? Anyway, it says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai that he had taken against Edom and his purposes that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Okay, so you Edomite armies will be obliterated in this last world war, and all those who remain will be destroyed by Yahweh and angels. Salakia. Jeremiah 49:21 says, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. So why is the earth going to be moved at the noise of their fall? Because the noise of their fall is going to come through the earth shaking to and fro like a drunkard, pursuant to Isaiah, the 24th chapter, by the impact of these 200 million ICBM missile warheads detonating, okay, and bringing that destroying wind of thermonuclear destruction and radiation in America, and removing the tectonic plates from underneath the ground, causing a simultaneous earthquake that the entire world will feel. All right. And this war is going to take place in the so-called Middle East. All right. Around the Red Sea. OK. You're going to get this next precept to further expound on that. This is Joel chapter 3, starting in verse 9. And it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. All right. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And this is more so talking about the natural Gentiles, the heathen. All right. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. And meaning what? A plowshare is like a farming tool, in reference to agriculture, farming and so forth. All right. So basically this prophecy is going into how these nations will transition from, like an agricultural mindset, in terms of supporting their sovereignty economically to just transitioning over to a mind state of full-fledged war. All right. So it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Right. These weaker nations, man, that have been subdued by the Western authority of America, Babylon the Great. OK. And I see Akim lighting it up. I'm going to get to the common board in a second. He's got quite a bit to bring out. So bear with me, Baba Kashah. All right, with the water for the precepts. But this is Joel 3:11. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh by Shemeshai, the angels, that it says in Isaiah 13:3. Okay, will be involved in this last world's war, man. Okay. So this is verse 12. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, meaning Yahweh judgment. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So where is Yahweh Shaphat located? Where the heathen will be judged. All right. In this prophesied war to take place in these perilous times of these last days. It's going to get that. Revelation 16 and 12. All right. And it reads, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. Okay. And the water thereof was dried up. And that actually happened a few years ago. That the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. That is the common side of the world, the eastern hemisphere. Okay. That so happens to be near the Euphrates River. And that links up with, the area of Yahweh Shaphat, and how that further confirms that the area of Yahweh Shaphat is in the so-called Middle East, Western Asia to be exact. Okay. Where this last world's war is going to take place. So let's go ahead and get that real quick. Look up the Euphrates River. It says river in Asia. You see that? All right. Specifically Western Asia. And so what do you see? These nations, okay, these countries of these so-called Muslim nations that will ironically be involved in this war, man. Specifically Iran, okay, the modern day Persians prophesied to align with Russia in Ezekiel the 38th chapter, okay, Ezekiel 38:7 to be exact. All right. Well, Ezekiel 38 verses 4 down to the 7th verse further confirms that Persia, which is a modern day Iran, okay, or the Iranians or the modern day Persians will be involved in this last world war. That's why Iran is around the Euphrates River, man, because they're part of the kings of the East that will be involved in this war, man. You see, this is why Iran vows to destroy America, okay, for continuing to compromise their sovereignty, provoke them into this war. Okay, by eliminating their top military generals and military leaders, including Nasrallah of Hezbollah. So there you see Iran. Okay, all right, Tehran, the capital of Iran, Iraq, see, Lebanon. Okay, another military proxy / ally of Iran. All right. Then, of course, you have the state of Israel. Okay, the least of the flock, drawing these nations out into this war. Okay. Then you have Syria. And this is why they're heavily involved, through the military coups over the past years up until now, up until recently, because they will also be involved in this war. Let's go and get that. Isaiah 17:1. Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 1. And it reads, the burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. Now, this is a twofold prophecy, all right, in which, had taken place in the ancient world regarding the invasion of the Assyrian army, the Assyrians, through their armies, against not only the Syrians in Syria, okay, including the Syrian king Rekin, but also the Israelites that were encompassed in that land, mainly the northern kingdom. Okay, because the northern kingdom had a lot of had close ties to Syria, and this is why the Israelite, the king of Israel, as in the northern kingdom, Pekah, had colluded with the king of Syria at that time, Rekin, to overthrow Judah. You see that? So the Lord was prophesying the destruction of Syria because of their oppression against the Israelites, which you can read about their history in Second Kings 16:9 and 2 Kings the 13th chapter. Okay, while simultaneously also prophesying the destruction of the Israelites in that land. Okay, for their wickedness, mainly on behalf of the northern kingdom, including the wickedness of the king of the northern kingdom at that time, Pekah, colluding with the Syrian king Rekin to Slakia, Rezin, it was his name, Rezin, not Rekin, Rezin, the Syrian king, to overthrow the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom. You see, and but in the modern day time, what do we see going on right now in Damascus, specifically Syria? Okay, destruction. Because the Lord Yahweh Shemashai also has a bone to pick out with you Syrians, man, for your oppression against us, man. Okay, it was once again, is of the accounts of 2 Kings the 13th chapter, and briefly 2 Kings 16:9. Okay, which you can read about. So I can go into further for the sake of time, but that all lines up with this prophecy, Isaiah 17:1, of the burden of Damascus. So it says here, the burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. See, so that's why here, going back to this article, the initial article on World Crunch, titled Iran, Syria, Trump, the next twist on Netanyahu's warpath after Lebanon ceasefire. All right, jumping down to, the main part. Says one must take Bibi at his word when he said on Tuesday night, Assad is playing with fire. Syrian sovereignty holds little weight as the country remains severely weakened after the devastation of the civil war. This week, jihadist groups, okay, linked with that particular terrorist group, okay, that, I just read about on X, okay, backed by Turkey, reached the gates of Aleppo, a sign that the embers of war are far from extinguished. So this is why the future destruction of Damascus is imminent. And if you can see omens of that through these military coups, okay, provoked and spearheaded by the Israeli Mossad, all right, through the state of Israel and the current administration over there, okay, giving orders to America and NATO. You see, and this is why a lot of member states of NATO and the EU support Ukraine for that purpose, because once again, the Israelis have ties with Ukraine, modern day Khazaria, because they're Khazarian converters. You see, So this is further confirms who's going to be involved in this last world war in the so-called Middle East, in the area of Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh judgment. Okay, around the Euphrates River, around the Tigris River, around the Gulf of around the Suez Canal, where a lot of oil trading takes place. Okay, around the Gulf the Gulf of Oman, okay, and so forth. So this is Second Esdras, chapter 15, starting in verse 28, and it reads, "Behold, in horrible vision, in the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as a wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble." And dragons of Arabia, once again referring to the so-called Muslim nations, specifically Ishmael, the modern-day Arabs, all right, and Iran, the modern-day Persians, all right, and all those other surrounding dragons of Arabia in Iraq, Kuwait, Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, so forth. It says in verse 29, verse 30, "Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them." The Carmanians, the modern day Persians or Iranians. It says, "And shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians." All right. And the Assyrians are known as a bloody nation. All right. Another reference to America. All right. Babylon the Great. Hence why Assyria is another spiritual alias for America, because America was established off the bloodshed of the saints, the so-called Negroes and indigenous. So this is Second Esdras 15-31. It says, "And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled blood, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them. And in their hosts shall be fear and dread, and strife among their kings," because they're going to be going apeshit on you Edomites, you modern day Assyrians, when they get their hands on you, man. Okay, letting out all the many years and generations of years of aggravation and intentions. Okay, of you devils, provoking them. All right, and they're looking to undermine their sovereignty. All right, but overthrowing their governments under coups, geoeconomically waging war on them. Okay, and in some cases even attacking them. All right. Bibi's administration has recently been attacking the militants of the Iranian militants, specifically Hezbollah. All right. Let me see. It says Tehran, having lost some of its regional influence due to the setbacks faced by Hezbollah and HAMAS, wants to appear conciliatory, likely because the balance of power is not in its favor. It may also want to preserve the possibility of becoming a nuclear power like North Korea, a threat Bibi considers existential for Israel. All right. So speaking of which, to further confirm why it's the least of the flock drawing these nations out into this last world's war. All right. Let's look at that. Name of Satan. Let me go ahead and relaunch the app. All right, so, North Korea sends ballistic missile warning to Trump. North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles into Western waters on Monday, hours after South Korea and the United States commenced their largest annual military exercises. You see? Because it's the least of the flock drawing these nations out, man. Oh, man, let me bring this out. It says Iran, China, and Russia launch annual joint naval drills as Trump appends Western alliances. You see that? You can't make this up, man. This is all biblical prophecy being further fulfilled in the final hours these perilous times we're living in. All right, which is further affecting the stock market. You see here, stock market in free fall after Trump admits recession may be imminent. It's going to happen. All right, because all wars are bankers' wars. All right, same reason why he said recently. Let me bring this out. President Trump warns monster nukes could end the world tomorrow. So let's go back to 2nd Ezra 15. And why do you say that? Because of the threat of Iran's nuclear missiles, as if they're the only nation that has nuclear missiles. Further confirming the hypocrisy of these devils, because they have the Patriot missiles, they have the what is it, man? I can't think of the. They have other models, of hypersonic missiles, mainly ICBM missiles, but they don't advocate, the same message for themselves to remove their own weapons and sincerely embark on efforts to do that. All right, because it goes against the narrative of their agenda. So this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. It says also Slakia, verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, the dragons of Arabia, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Syrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear and dread, and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north upon the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. All right. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star. We're going into the nukes, as it says in St. Matthew 24 and 29. The stars of heaven, would fall. All right, case in point. We're going to grab that real quick. St. Matthew 24 and 29. And it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened. All right, why? Because of the many nukes in the firmament, in the ozone layer. It says, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. See? And this is why, this is why that great shaking is going to come, as it says in Jeremiah 49 and 21. Mainly in the Middle East, around the Red Sea and the Euphrates River. All right? Around the dragons of Arabia. You see? So back in 2nd Ezra 15 and 35 says, they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the belly. These flying swords, these nukes prophesied in Isaiah the 34th chapter. All right. It's going to lead into the doom of Amalek. This is Exodus 17 and 15. It says, and Moses built an altar and called the name of it. It says Jehovah Nissi, is really Yahweh Nasiah, which means Yahweh's banner, because it represented a memorial of the destruction of Amalek. All right, it says, for he said, because the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai has sworn that the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashai will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. You see that? So all the proxy wars against Syria and their, and Iran's proxies and, Iran themselves, okay, and those surrounding countries, other dragons of Arabia, all right, in the so-called Middle East and Western Asia, okay, all omens that will eventually lead into the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, and specifically Amalek. And that's why in Revelation, the 20th chapter, it prophesies the destruction of the state of Israel because it's been defiled by the Gentiles, man. Okay. All right. Through your Tel Aviv madness. Okay. Your annual Tel Aviv madness over there. All right. That annual Sodomite parade. You being idolatrous by praying to the Wailing Wall with your damn head covered. And if you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to pray with your head covered, man. Okay. So if you're the chosen people of the Lord, why are you deliberately and blatantly transgressing the law, statutes, commandments of the Lord? Because what it said in Psalm 15:16 to 17, what is thou to do to declare my statutes? You shall rebel more and more, because you're not the people, you're not the true people of the Lord. That's why Amalek will be destroyed. That's why the visitation of the Lord's wrath will come upon that land where you devils predominantly dwell. All right. This is Numbers 24 and 20. Okay. Let me see. Matter of fact, I think I've seen a brother post the same chapter and start up. That's powerful, man. Let me get that. All right, Khan. All right, Shalom Akim Yahba Shem Thumb. Let me go ahead and get this precept by the brother Amraya. Yep, let's do the spirit. Numbers 24 and 18. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. All right, and it aligns with Isaiah 14 and 2. It says in verse Numbers 24 and 19. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth in the city. All right, because the elect of Israel, the 144,000 elect governing body, the house of David, are the battle axe of the Lord. As it says in Jeremiah 51 and 20, Isaiah 41 and 15, and so forth. You see, and the house of David, Aaron Ratazah, myself included, will be involved in bringing destruction upon the strongholds of you devils, man. So you not only have to fear and worry about Yahweh Shine angels, you got to fear and worry about the house of David, man. All right. Numbers 24 and 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. All right. It's going to be your past sight is in a beautiful sight when you devils are destroyed, man. All right. So we'll grab a couple more of these precepts. By Akim. By Matazah, the brother Matazah, 144 guy, put St. John 10 and 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. That's Esau for you, man. Mainly under Amalek. All right. You jump down. Look at this precept by the brother Amraya. Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. Okay. It says, 1 second. It says, the great day of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai is near. It is near. It hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. All right, all you mighty men, you pump all these weights. You exhibiting your machismo, your, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. All right, you're some of the biggest bitches on the planet, man. Excuse my French. And you're gonna be put on the front line. All right, because Esau's bringing back the military draft. All right, that's why the NDAA believes the NDAA that was sending out letters to quote unquote qualifying individuals of military aged individuals, men and women from age 18 and 26. At least as it stands right now, that's the age range. All right. But it says here, this is Zephaniah 1 and 16. Matter of fact, let's get the 15th verse. It's lucky as well. Zephaniah 1 and 15. And it reads, that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Okay, a time of destruction, man, a time of great war. Okay, wasteness and desolation. This is why distress and trouble is going to come upon these people. All right. It says in Isaiah the 13th chapter, their faces shall be as flames. All right. Zephaniah 1 and 16 says, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers, the lofty city, the golden city, America, Babylon the Great. Okay. It's like the former Edomite general Mark Milley had pointed out and admitted that the defense forces through the missile deflect systems such as THAAD and so forth cannot possibly, fend off the hypersonic missiles of Russia and China. So what more so the ICBMs? So says Zephaniah 1 and 17, and I will bring distress upon men that they shall walk like blind men because they have sinned against the Lord, Yahweh by Shemeshah, and their blood should be poured out as dust and their flesh as the dung. All right. And it lines up with Zephaniah 14 and 12, how their eyes shall melt in their eyes, in their eye sockets, in their holes, which are the eye sockets, and their tongue shall melt in their mouths, man. So how devastating this fire is going to be, this thermonuclear fire radiation, this last World War. okay, which will be used to cleanse the whore America, the sinful kingdom, and Babylon the Great, the main place of our captivity, okay, to usher in the kingdom of heaven, man. And before these nukes fly, Esau is going to make that chip mandatory. And this is why Elon's involvement in the Trump administration is so pivotal. Because hence why, matter of fact, man, let me get that article real quick. Let me see. Yep. So MSN.com says Elon wants to implant millions of people with Neuralink brain chips. That's going to replace the petrodollar. See, this is why the wicked elite central Zionist bankers are using Trump to wage geoeconomical war in these nations, the majority of which we get our imports from, because it's a part of, the death by 1,000 cuts war tactic. Okay, a part of the Hegelian dialectic, all right, aka order out of chaos. All right, to justify the collapse of the current monetary system by weakening the global leverage of the petrodollar, which is which the U.S. economy represents of over $36 trillion in debt, and that's going to eventually lead into this recession that Trump was talking about, and it's going to be a depression. Okay, and that's going to lead into the remedy that Esau will present, being that chip. Once again, why? Because all wars are bankers' wars. Then those nukes are going to fly. Okay, regarding the timeline of prophecy. All right. And that's how we're measuring the time. So this is Zephaniah 1:18. It says, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord Yahweh by Shemeshai's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. This is prophesied in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. And when our forefather Ezra witnessed his destruction, all he saw was smoke. And he woke up afraid. All right. So conclusion of, or aftermath of the destruction is the redemption of the sins of Israel, man, under the second holy covenant, where we would be perfected and rule this earth in righteousness, where this world would no longer know war, because you devils will no longer be ruling it, man. So I'm ending it off on that note. Pray this lesson was further edifying, enjoyed into elect. Give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is the God of the living, Yahweh, by Hashem, Mashiach, Yahushai, Baruch Badash. And with that, above ball, soon and very soon. All right, Shalom, Labachim, Shal, by Yashid Abadah, Shah, Yashar Alameen. Peace to you, elected house of David of the nation of Israel. Shalom. All right, to all you Akim tuning in, walk the water for the precepts. Yahweh by Shem and Shah, Barakathum. And on to the next one.